Hello, and welcome to Learning Excel 2013. My name is Mike Henry, and this is the 7th video from Tutorial 8. In this video, we're going to talk about the if-era. Now, the if-era function does not stand alone. It has to work with another function or formula. Basically, if the function or the formula is returning an error code, and an error code could be like pound/div, and we've seen that one before because someone might have tried to divide by 0, or pound/NA. The computer's confused, it doesn't know what the input is, NA. There's a set of codes that are out there. They don't make any sense to an end user generally. And so what the if-era does is it works in conjunction with another formula or function. When the error code comes up, instead of putting up pound something, it writes up English words that an end user is really going to understand and can do something about it. So that's where we're going to use the if-era with our last formula. So in the last video we took and created this one here for medical plan, and we used a VLOOKUP. Basically we learned that we're going to take the medical plan, so we look up here the medical plan, we go look it up in the lookup table where we have the table, and we get the second column, which is going to be the amount. And we're looking for a false, which means we're looking for an exact match. That gives us the number that we want for the medical plan, and we multiply times 12 to get the yearly cost. The formula worked great until we get to here. And here we see we have an error. And basically the end user sees something like this and they're going to go, oh, the spreadsheet person messed up. I better fix their formula for them. When in reality the problem isn't that we created a bad formula, it's that they entered in something incorrectly. Because if we look here, it says family 3500, and when we go look over here, there's a family 1000 and a family 2500, but there's no family 3500. So basically it gets to the bottom, it says, I don't know what you want, I'm going to give you the error code. So we're going to fix this so if it returns an error code, it doesn't just tell the end user $NA, which makes no sense to an end user. Instead, we're going to fix this, and we have a special function called if-era. And so what we're going to do is right here we're going to use our if-era. And I'm going to put in here my if-era. This is a new function that we're first using now. And the if-era has two parts to it. And the first part is what's causing the error. The second part is what are we going to show it if there is an error? What are we going to do if there is an error? So really what we're looking at here is when we look at our formula here, this is our original formula, and basically this is causing the error. Somehow that's caused an error, and because we've got this error, we got to do something. So all of that's going to go right in there. Now right here, this is what we get to tell the end user to do. So in this case, we're going to put in here invalid code. You gave us an invalid code, and that's why we have a problem. So we're just going to take all of the original formula and stick it in here. This part here, we don't want two equals, so we're going to end up removing that equal, or actually putting all this if-error code in between. So let's see how I'm going to do that, and hopefully this will help you as we get going here. So we go back to our original formula. We go back to our original formula here, and right here between the equal and the VLOOKUP is where I put in my if-error. You can see as soon as I type IF, I see an if-error right here, and I hit tab, and you can see that set up my if-error right there, and then I've got my mistake right here. All right, and when I click to the end of the 12, because this is what's returning my mistake, I put my comma, and you can see it says I filled in my value that's causing the error. Now I want to know what to do if there's an error. So I put in here my open quote, and I put in here invalid put in their invalid code, and I close that off. Okay, so this is what's going to happen if this returns a bad code. You can see I have an open red, a closed red parenthesis, I have an open black, I have a closed black. I got to make sure they're all done. I do this, and now you can see I get invalid code right here, which makes much more sense to an end user. They're going to read that and go, invalid code for medical plan. Oh boy, what do I need to do here? They come back to here and they go, oh, there's no family 3500, and they can change that. Now I know some people are going, well, if we put a data validation rule, they could have never had that. Well, you're right, data validation rule would have helped, but it's always good to also return a code that we handwrite as English instead of just a pound something, because end users don't usually understand that. So in this video we learned how to use the if error. Basically we created a formula before that was a VLOOKUP that was returning an error code. Now this error code was coming because the end user put in the wrong medical plan. Now we could have fixed it over at the entry point where the end user could have had a data validation rule saying I wouldn't accept that plan, and that would have been a great thing to do ahead of time. But there are times when formulas could go sideways even if you do have a validation rule in place. And so we saw that we can put an error code in there that helps the end user understand what's going on and what they might have to do to fix the problem.